3, 2, 1. That felt pretty good.
Didn't on my end, but as long as it felt good for you.
It's like that very sad question. Like, was it good for you too?
Yeah. You did your best.
Hello and welcome to another thing. This time I'm joined by a very special guest who has actually been in this actual room before, but is not currently in the room now. It is JoyGirl, aka Sophie, aka Soppy. How are you today?
Feeling pretty good. How about yourself, Liam?
Yeah, I'm all right.
Standard response.
So, the standard opening question, who are you and what do you do on the YouTube platform?
So, as you have introduced me, so kindly introduced me, my name is Sophie, but I go by JoyGirl on my channel, and I create One Piece videos on YouTube.
Very cool. Any specific kind, or is you just going to use the vague Liam answer for that?
Well, yeah, because it varies. So, most of it are, reviews, analysis. I dabble in some theories. I also have another channel where I do skits. I have another channel where I do skits, which is fun. But my main one is JoyGirl. And then obviously you and I, along with our friend Manu, do the Blue Banana podcast together.
We do. Usually I've got the banana with me. Oh, I do have it.
Nice.
I'll always have the banana ready.
Yes. You never know when you're going to need a blue banana.
So you said you do a lot of things. Does the JoyGirl channel have a particular mission?
Yes, it does. It is to spread the joy and positivity of One Piece through fun and exciting videos about One Piece.
That sounds delightful. I like it.
Thank you.
When did you start making videos and what inspired you to do so?
Are you asking me this so that you can inflate your own ego, Liam?
I didn't say who inspired you. What inspired you?
So I started making videos in around this time, actually. So May 2020. What got me started was because I had just finished binge reading and caught up on the series at that point because of COVID and because I wasn't working as much. I had a lot more free time. Also meant that I wasn't able to see my friends often. And the friends that I do have who have read or who are caught up with One Piece are friends who I used to work with. And because I couldn't see them at work anymore, which meant that I had no one to discuss One Piece with. Around the same time, I actually got introduced to your channel, Liam, which is why I asked, where you just tried to inflate your own horn there, but then and then I think I figured out that I think this guy is an Australian One Piece YouTuber, and I thought, you know what, if he can do it, I can do it. But the main reason was just because I actually just wanted to talk to people, and I found this great, huge online community which I did not know existed beforehand, and so I just thought, why not? I've got all this extra time, so that's how JoyGirl came into fruition.
Fantastic. And you've accomplished that mission now of having some people to talk to about One Piece, I imagine?
Exactly. And it just keeps on growing from there.
Yeah, I dare say you've now got, looking at Social Blade, over 40,000 people that you speak to on a fairly regular basis.
Yes. I mean, twice a week. And so for periods when Australia was in lockdown, I was speaking to people on YouTube more frequently than I was speaking to some of my closest friends.
I mean, lockdown's over and that's still my lifestyle.
I have to admit that that's still also my lifestyle. So I think during the last 2 years, I've probably been called JoyGirl more often than I've been called Sophie. So...
Fair enough. Understandable. You said you uploaded twice a week. Is there a reason for that particular schedule?
Well, I found that is, for one, the most consistent I can be on a realistic basis. I know that you upload a crazy amount on your main channel, but I realized early on that 2 is probably the max that I can do with my current time schedule because I'm also actually working at the moment. So YouTube really isn't something that I would consider my work so much. It is really still at this point just my passion and my hobby because I still work. I actually have 3 other jobs. And so twice a week is really all that I can manage at the moment. But also I feel like you do have to upload a lot more regularly on YouTube. I found that when I was only doing 1 a week or maybe 2 or 3 in 2 weeks, for a period I was uploading maybe 3 videos a fortnight. And I don't think that YouTube likes it when you don't upload as frequently.
I agree with you. I think that 2, with the sort of stuff we do, is your bare minimum. You could get away with, 1 a week or 1 a month or whatever. I think depending on the project size, like if you've got big 2-hour deep dives that take months to prepare, you could probably get away with, 5 or 6 videos a year. But not so much with the kind of 10-minute short form discussions we do.
Yeah, exactly. It does really put you in a different niche within the One Piece niche as well. So
How so?
well, I feel like once you just become a YouTuber who only uploads once every couple of months, I think your videos have I think there's an expectation of your videos to have a certain production quality level, maybe a different style of analysis or a very deep dive analysis. And like you said, I don't think you could get away with just doing 10-minute videos on YouTube every 6 months. I think you would sort of fade away into the abyss of One Piece YouTube because it's not as saturated as other niches, certainly not as saturated as other niches on YouTube, but there is still, quite few of us. And so with so many, new YouTubers coming as well, I think you would sort of just fade sort of into irrelevance.
Do you have a rough estimate of how many of us there are?
Oh, no. I'm sure, I'm sure that, are we saying even just the English One Piece YouTubers? Are we talking worldwide?
Let's keep it simple. Let's keep it with English, yeah.
With English? Okay. I'm going to go, I don't know, 2,500.
Okay. Oh, wow. All right. I wasn't expecting a number that high, but you've definitely got the right way of thinking because there might only be, 10 to 15 of us who are prominent. But at any given time, there are hundreds and hundreds of people starting from zero in this niche and trying to make something happen.
Yeah, exactly. That was something that I realized when I first started my channel. I had, whenever, I would type in One Piece to see, whether I would pop up, it's a
long list.
And like you say, every day, I think there is someone, who's also starting their channel afresh. And good for them.
Yeah, good on you. That's kind of what these interviews are for, actually, to hopefully equip you with the tools and experience and motivation you need to push through that 0 to 1 subscriber level. Question relating to the upload schedule. Do you ever find it particularly difficult to keep up with that 2 videos a week, or is that quite a comfortable amount for you to make with your trifecta of jobs?
Most weeks it's fine. I would say the hardest part of uploading to a two videos per week schedule is actually keeping it consistent in terms of the days on which they are released. Because something else that I really try to do is I try to stick to 2 videos on specific days of the week. And I find that sometimes gets difficult when I have some other things, in the way. Sometimes, there are external factors which come into play, which means that I might not be able to release my video on the Tuesday and has to be on the Wednesday. And I actually do find that when I do break out of that, set time schedule, those videos tend to perform a little worse.
Yeah, I would agree. I think your audience gets used to a certain time. And if you miss that window, how do I put this? If you miss that window, it gets taken up by something that they would usually watch on that Wednesday instead of your thing that came out late.
Yeah, exactly. It's also a very interesting thing to play around with because, we've recently had time shifts because of, daylight savings and things like that. So, I have to wonder again, do I have to pull back an hour, pull it forward an hour, which does wonders for my head because I never understand daylight savings. I don't know how it works.
It absolutely does my head in as well. Yeah. Let's dive a bit deeper. Can you tell me how a JoyGirl video gets made? Take us through that process from start to finish. Thought to hitting the publish button.
Okay, so it depends on the type of video. So one of those 2 videos in a usual week when we do have a chapter release will be the chapter review. So that one is probably a simpler one. I react to the chapter first on Twitch and then I read it again, think about it, and then review it. So the review process tends to be a little easier. I don't know what I don't know. I think you might agree with that. So we'll go
Much
to
easier, yes.
yeah, right. So we'll go to like the general discussions that I do, which is usually the one that comes out on the Tuesday. So I start thinking about what my next video is going to be probably on the Saturday, the day after my review comes out. The reason why I do that is because, well, usually the next video tends to be a extension of of a point that was raised during the chapter, which makes it difficult when there are chapter breaks. But
Just to break in there, because I think this might be interesting. Why do you specifically structure a discussion based on something that sprung off the chapter?
Well, honestly, it's a bit of a difficulty there because I would like to discuss some other topics as well, but the harsh truth is that people generally aren't as interested, especially when there's a huge chapter. You do have to talk about something that's relevant, that's hot, that's, great hot topic that is just steaming at that point. Otherwise, it just, again, fades into the abyss, which is why I usually tend to think about whether there is something in the chapter that I can discuss first, but also because I guess, just human nature, it's also on my mind. It's a fresh chapter that I've just read, the reviews also, there's another trick with reviews, which is that you have to be quick. Otherwise, it's that's another thing that you have to think about for your reviews to, tend to perform better, which means that, sometimes I might not be able to flesh out my ideas as deep as I would like, but also because it's a review, I don't want to dive into just one topic for another 15 minutes, which is why I will, save that for a next video.
I would describe chapter reviews as a glass of cold milk in the sun. It's only good for so long, and they spoil very quickly.
Yeah. The word spoil might get into dangerous territory there, Liam.
Let's steer clear of that. So, with your discussion videos, how much time do you spend writing? How much time do you spend recording, editing? Could you break that process down?
Yeah, sure. So earlier in my channel, earlier in the history of my channel, I used to write out a full script. This was also back when I wasn't showing my face on camera, which meant that it was just me just reading. So I would write that whole script out. That would probably take maybe anywhere from 2 hours to days. When I started, it's not easy.
It's a very broad range, yeah.
Yeah, maybe like 2 days. There were pressure. Nowadays, I don't write a whole script. I usually write, notes as I'm just thinking about things. I have rough, dot point notes. Yeah, so
even for the discussion videos.
Yes.
Wow.
Probably even more so for the discussion videos, because the chapter review, I'm sort of going like page by page and I have a reference where I can probably just, jot down my notes, and it tends to get a bit more detailed. Whereas discussions, yeah, it's more rough notes. I still have like points so that I have a logical structure, but maybe not the entire script like I used to. And I just found that was an easier process, both in terms of, saving times in terms of writing, but also I found it an easier process when it came to recording. Because if I was to, nowadays, to sort of bypass any risk of getting struck by copyright, I tend not to use very, very minimal screenshots or whatever from the manga or from the anime, if I do use any screenshots or, video clips. So most of my video is actually just face. And so I feel like if I had an entire script that I needed to work and, have that recorded by on camera, I feel like that would actually take a lot longer, because my brain would sort of get stuck on making sure that I said things perfectly, for example. Whereas if it's just rough notes, and I can just play around with it a little bit more. But
that's fascinating. I think that's absolutely remarkable. And I also think that you're underselling what it is you do, because being able to sit down and record a discussion video with properly articulated thoughts with only dot points is extraordinarily difficult.
I mean, when I say dot points, I'm not saying like, I don't have just 5 dot points that I'm, going by. I do have like sub points under that, but yes, it's not a full written out thing. So I don't know. I find that might be easier. I don't know. Maybe you should try it, Liam.
No, absolutely not. I'm the exact opposite. If I have tried it before.
Okay.
If I get just like a page of dot points and topics, there's a lot of stopping and umming and ahhing because I'm someone who likes to really take the time to choose exactly what the right word is to describe what I'm trying to say. Otherwise, I just end up rambling and going,
And well, I mean, I'm sure that has its benefits for you as well because your videos are very well articulated and that's what your audience come to you for.
No. Whereas
Lots
they
of
come
ego
to you
stroking
to...
here for.
Yeah. I'm a raging hard ego right now. You have no idea. But no, that's a good point you bring up. Whereas your audience come to you to just really geek out about One Piece and enjoy their time.
Yeah, I think so. I think it really does depend on sort of the audience that you have attracted and that you have created along the way.
The friends we made along the way, eh?
Exactly.
So which part of the video process do you enjoy most then?
I don't know when it's finished. Reading the comments, seeing what people enjoy.
That's a good answer, yeah. So the part of the video process you enjoy most is when you're no longer in the video process.
When I no longer have to work on it.
Yeah, that's fine. In which case, what part do you enjoy the least?
Probably the editing. So I have an editor. Same guy who Red, as he's called, for our Blue Banana podcast, edits the JoyGirl videos, and he has been doing that for a while. And he's actually one of my only friends, in sort of real life friends. He's my only friend. No, he's sort of one of the only, real life friends who actually watches and reads One Piece. He's actually the one who introduced me to One Piece. He also introduced me to you, Liam. So yeah, great friend.
Fun fact, great friend. He's still not subscribed to either of our channels.
No.
Such a great friend.
Great friend. Keeping it real. All
right. So editing then.
Yes, but before I hand it over to him, like I said, because I do just record myself and it's all on camera and I'm not going by a fully written out script, it does mean that, like you say, I have moments where I'm pausing or I screw up and I go, I could have articulated that better, and I re-record that bit. And so because of that, I have to cut out those moments before I hand my video over to him. That's probably the part I dislike the least, yes, because I don't know, it's human nature, right? I don't know if a lot of people really enjoy watching themselves or listening to themselves. I certainly don't.
No.
I certainly don't, especially when the job is to cutting up all of my screw-ups and trimming out all of my screw-ups. I'm like, I'm terrible.
And you're just hyper fixating on everything you're doing wrong. Like, why is my eye doing that? Or like, what's that piece of hair that's just sticking out there?
So that's probably the part that I enjoy the least.
You make your own thumbnails?
No, I don't. No, so I used to make my own thumbnails. Terrible at it. Thumbnails is probably the area that I still need to work on the most. Because, as I'm sure Liam has already told you multiple times throughout his channel, thumbnails are super, super important on YouTube, something that I understand, but still something that I haven't managed to grasp yet, I don't think. And I am in no way an artist, so thumbnails is something that I really struggled with. Now I commission an artist, the lovely Gracia, who I believe that you commission her as well for your thumbnails.
I do, but
so
our processes
great minds
are a bit
think
different,
alike. Yes.
I think, yeah.
I think you must be an easier customer for her because I have deep gratitude and my sincerest of apologies because I don't think that I think my brain is a bit more scattered and sporadic, especially when it comes to thumbnails. And maybe I don't know if I'm giving enough time sometimes, and I don't know if I'm giving enough details and instructions. But she always pulls through, and she does such an amazing job each time because she is really, really talented.
Yeah,
she's super fast as well. Yeah, I've seen the video, the interview that you guys did together. It was a lot of fun, and I can't believe that that you ever, like, I'm sorry, Liam, I've seen your work and, your artworks, yeah, they're all right, but I can't believe you decided to challenge her.
I'm sorry. Do you not think this is worthy of challenging?
Oh, okay, all
Look
right.
at this masterpiece.
That's a very, is that something
she,
like, is that a mock-up
she's-
that you made for her?
No, that is for a video I did on NL. I asked my viewers to essentially dress him up in a Wano outfit. And during the video, I drew it onto him.
Okay. Nice.
So what video are you most proud of in your JoyGirl career?
Ooh, that's a hard one. Probably, well, it depends. I think it changes because my channel has come a long way since that point, and I suppose maybe the production quality isn't as great as it was when I first made it. Actually, you know what? So the one that I like the most is the one that I made for my, I think it was my 5.656 subscriber count anniversary, because I made a video about what Luffy means to the Straw Hats.
Would you like to explain the significance of that?
Yes, okay. So just in case you don't know the significance of 5656, in Japanese it's Gomu Gomu, which is, the name, like what Luffy says before he before he shouts out any attack. Got a Luffy chopper there as well, I suppose. So it's a bit of a wordplay and a pun there, based on the numbers, as well as gomu, which means rubber. Which, fun fact, gomu also means rubber in Korean, because Korean and Japanese, there's a few words that are shared or have the same basis, because I suppose both of them were, transported from China. So it's a fun experience especially when I'm listening to anime, because I find that the grammar structure, or I find that some words are the same in Korean. So that's a lot of fun. But anyways, that's probably the one that I enjoy the most, and that's probably the one that I like the most, because the Straw Hats is my favorite thing about my favorite thing about One Piece. But the one that I'm most proud of maybe might be the Yamato theory video that I made, just because I got a lot of things right in that one. And that was sort of the first theory video that I made when I started the channel. It was before I even had 1,000 subscribers, I think. I must have been in...
It was very early on, yes.
It was very early on. So if you try to find it, it's still on my channel. Production quality is crap. I will say it is crap. But it's just, something that will always stick with me, because I just remember when the chapter came out about Yamato and about Yamato's identity, and I was like, holy crap, yes, I was right. And, so that's probably the proudest one. What's another one that what's your proudest one, actually? Let me turn this to you. Do you have a video that you're most proud of?
No, I'm equally as proud of quite a few of them. I've got almost 1,000 videos on Grand Line Review. I'd say I'm proud of the last maybe 30 to 40 of those.
You're so harsh on yourself, Liam.
Like, Actually, no, I have a very easy answer to this, and I should have thought of this first. I did an entire documentary on the Dressrosa arc, which took me 3 months, and it involved compiling interviews with 100 of my viewers, over 100 of them. And yeah, it turned out really well. It has over 700,000 views now, which I didn't think would ever happen with that.
Yeah, nice.
It was a good project. So good that I'm not sure I'll ever do it again.
Well, it'll give me an opportunity to dress up as someone else.
That's true. You do make a cameo. Several cameos, I believe.
Yes.
So turning it around then, what video are you least proud of?
Maybe my early chapter reviews. I think as a new One Piece YouTuber, especially when you're doing the chapter reviews, I think you can sort of fall into the pitfall of not reviewing the chapter as much, but really recounting it sometimes, or just retelling the story and so I think the earlier chapter reviews, fell into that pit somewhat. So anything really that's so that's probably something that I am least proud of. I think you're too harsh on yourself with the 30 and 40.
Thank you. Just before you move on to continuing to stroke my ego, I think that's really good advice for people who specifically want to get into YouTube to talk about media, the trap everyone falls into with reviews or analysis is just retelling the story. And it takes a while to like really realize that you don't have to do that. You don't even have to talk about what happens in order. You just talk about ideas and themes and just what worked for you and what didn't.
Exactly. Actually, on that note, another one of my videos or a series of mine, which I have discontinued, was my arc reviews. And it's actually something, even though it was something really early on in my channel, that's something that I am actually somewhat still proud of, because I think I really like the atmosphere that I created through the arc reviews. But I remember when I was creating those, I had a real tough time making sure that I wasn't just giving a summary of what happened in the arc and making sure that it was an actual review. It's a tough one, but you guys will get there. And make sure to get there, because it does a lot.
I would say you can get there fairly quickly. Just set yourself the challenge. Don't retell the story. Don't talk about it in order. And you'll immediately be a step up above where most people start, including me and you.
Oh, yeah.
Here's a curious question. How do you feel about the number 10?
How do I feel about the number 10?
Does it hold any significance in your life now?
Yes, it does. For those of you who don't know, what Liam is referring to is that YouTube gives us an account of how our latest video is doing in comparison to the last 10 videos that we released on our channel. And I'm sure Liam and I are both somewhat experiencing this, because about a month ago, we had a crazy hype in the One Piece community because of just the sheer, hype of the chapters, really. Just the, sort of the developments that we were getting in the series was just so good. I think the One Piece YouTube community just blew up and everyone was watching all sorts of videos. Everyone could not get enough of videos. Whereas I feel like now that that's died down a bit, so have the views. And so for the last 2-3 weeks, maybe I haven't broken past top 5. I haven't gone past the 5 in my what do you call it? Yes, in my ranking. 10 is probably the roughest part, and it's something that I actually really enjoy watching. Watch Dude in a Room, and something that you do put into perspective is the fact that, what YouTube obviously doesn't tell you is that number 10 might have been a number 3, 3 months ago, because you're constantly developing. Yeah. But at the time,
even
obviously,
a month ago, depending on your growth.
Exactly. And so whilst you still have to have that perspective, obviously when you see videos not performing well, it does, somewhat take a bit of your ego and your dedication and your hard work. You just feel like it's just not living up to what I had imagined and all the effort that I put in.
It's never good to hear that of the last 10 things you've done, this is objectively the worst.
Exactly.
What is the biggest mistake you've made on the YouTube platform?
One of the earlier ones was not investing in a good microphone. And I don't even mean you have to use like proper gear. I just mean anything that is a proper microphone. I mean, that is just a microphone. I was using my laptop's just built-in microphone feature, which is terrible because most times, or a lot of the times, people won't even watch your videos. They'll just be listening. They might just have it on when they do the dishes. I know that's how I consume a lot of my own, YouTube videos. I'll play it on sometimes in the background. And so the audio, I think, is very important, more so than any other feature of your, production quality. And so if your audio just sounds like crackly and like it's just not good. I hope that you guys enjoyed that, a bit of ASMR for you. Something else that I did, something which was a very interesting find very recently, actually maybe 2-3 weeks ago, was that I had scheduled a video and forgot to put a thumbnail on, or it was before my thumbnail was ready. So I had scheduled it thinking that I will create the thumbnail in the morning, which is what I usually do, and then have it released at a certain time. I slept in and the video released on schedule without a thumbnail. Super interesting though, because that video was at number 2 out of 10.
No.
So I don't know. Yes, number 2 out of 10. And, I was not expecting that. I woke up and my first thought was, holy crap, my video, and ran to my laptop, ran to my computer, created a thumbnail just super quickly, put it up. And then I was like, that video had been up there for almost an hour, was sitting at 2 out of 10. And because I think how well your video does in its initial stages plays a role in how the video does, in the future. I think YouTube pushes it out more if in its initial stages you get a pretty good view rate. And so that video did pretty well for the rest of its history.
What was it about?
It was I can't even remember. It was a discussion about Kaido and Luffy, about Kaido's backstory. So it wasn't something that was hugely on topic where everything was just a hot topic. It was sort of around that period when most videos were doing quite well. So I will give it that. I don't know if it's just another intrigue where people are like, what is this? There's no thumbnail. I must click to find out what this is.
It would have just had a picture of your face, probably in some sort of awkward pose,
something. This background, but it was red.
Interesting. So maybe people responded to you as opposed to the One Piece characters so much.
Yeah, which is what I was thinking as well. But then on the flip side, I've had other videos for a period of time on my channel. I made thumbnails where, regardless of whether it was a chapter reaction or just a normal discussion video, I would have my face on it. And those videos don't tend to do super well. So I don't know why that is on this occasion. It worked. I haven't been bold enough to try it again. I won't test fate like that.
Maybe you just hit the really golden timing of that hype moment. Maybe you made that mistake at just the right time.
The right time. Exactly, maybe. I mean, I suppose it would be a fun experiment to do it again.
What is one thing that you wish you knew when you first started YouTube?
Record here, but probably the thumbnails. Thumbnails are just super, super important. It's to the point that if you don't know what your thumbnail is going to be, if you don't have a very clickable thumbnail, that video might not even be worth posting. There's a few videos of mine that I've made that mistake where my thumbnails just don't cut it, where the video itself I'm very proud of, but the thumbnail just wasn't enough to attract the viewers. And, we could all sit on our high horse and say, don't judge a book by its cover, but often
and they do in the comments. They absolutely do. If you have good content, people will watch it, is what I hear a lot, and it's not true.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's just not the reality. I would say some of my best videos, or the videos that I am most proud of, are ones that just don't have great views because maybe the thumbnail was just lacking. So yes, thumbnails, super important.
Yeah, and I think it's really demoralizing when you do make a great video and you don't invest, I guess, enough time into that thumbnail, because it kind of makes a lot of that effort null and void.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, Miss Girl, is there anything that you would like to do on YouTube but don't currently have the time or even resources to accomplish?
Yes, there are many things. I do hope to one day branch out. Like I mentioned, I have a skit channel where I do skits. Those skits are mainly based on One Piece. I would like to eventually branch that out and, tackle some other animes, but also some just, general life things. I've also been thinking of doing sort of my own personal vlog for a while, but at the time I just don't have enough time. It will most likely be something more personal, maybe like food related.
Like girl in a room style, more personal? Or?
I mean, there will certainly be girl in a room videos. There will be dudette in a room videos, but it won't necessarily be solely dudette in a room. I'd also like to get out a little bit more, so I'll probably document those sorts of adventures.
More, can confirm. Girl at a beach, more likely.
I mean, something that's become very apparent to me during these 2-3 years of doing, actually it's only 2 years of doing YouTube.
Feels a lot longer, doesn't it?
It's a lot of work. Yes, it does. Lots of long nights. But it's a lot of hard work, and it actually does require a lot of effort. Whereas I want to talk about other series just because I enjoyed them, which is really how, my channel started. I just started my channel because I enjoyed One Piece so much. I wanted to talk about it. I just wanted to find other people who wanted to talk about it, and which is how JoyGirl started. And whilst I would love to do the same with other series, I don't know if I have the time or even dedication that I do to One Piece to, dedicate another channel for that. And it doesn't seem to be feasible to start looking at other series within the JoyGirl channel, because then YouTube doesn't like that if you start to play around and mix your niche.
Well, along the same lines, do you have any goals that you would like to implement in the foreseeable future?
So Twitch is one of them. I would like to become more regular with my skit channel, because that has taken a bit of hiatus because I've been extremely busy the last couple of months. But in terms of JoyGirl and in terms of the main channel, it's always just about constant improvement. There are a lot of different projects, different, ideas for videos that I've had on the back burner a bit that I just haven't had time to get around to just because of life. So there are, projects that I would like to do. But in terms of, just the video quality as like in and of themselves, I would really like to play around with my use of cameras more. I know that you're doing a thing now, Liam, where you're using like fun little quirky character drawings to bypass having to rely on the screenshots. Yeah. And I'd like to come up with something like that too, because I think I've been showing just my face for a while, and I think you always need to be reinventing and reintroducing new things into your channel to keep it fresh. So I need to figure something out to make sure that, make something that works for me.
As just on that, my personal philosophy there is that you should be a completely reinvented channel every 6 months. Like, if you look back 6 months ago and you're still doing the same thing, it's probably stagnating a bit. But that's just me, and I'm insane, so...
I've got 2 months left. I've got 2 months.
No, but, like, the idea is it's what you're saying. You're gradually improving, so much so that you don't even notice. But when you look back, you're like, oh my god, how far have I come?
Yes, I completely agree. And it happens naturally, I think, most of the time, because... it's very rare that you probably
people,
just...
I don't even know if I can say for most people. There are some people naturally that just get really comfortable and just do the same thing into infinity.
Right, okay. Interesting. Well, I hope not to be one of those people, and I hope to be constantly working
I think
on it.
the idea is to keep pushing your comfort zone. As soon as you get, or as soon as I get too comfortable, that's when I know that I need to try something new or invest time into some new feature or venture to make things slightly better.
Yeah, fair enough. Something not as related to video quality, but something that I want to get better at and want to go back to doing more is actually engaging with people who watch my videos more. Back when I had more time, I would, I would respond to most comments. And I still try to respond to a lot of comments, but just in terms of time, I just don't have that ability anymore. Or even my Discord. I created a Discord last year, and when I first started, I was super active. Still now I try to be active, but I know that that's dwindled down a lot just because I started a new job and, other things getting in the way.
Running a Discord server can become a full-time job. I went through the same experience.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot of work. And I've got great mods who I'm super thankful for because they do so much of it. I mean, they did most of the Discord setting up because I'm hopeless when it comes to technology. But even still, there are just, aspects where I would really like to, go back to I'm still sharing my thoughts and I'm still getting to, engage with people, but, really take time to actually look at the comments, get more active on my Discord. That's something that's always constantly on my mind, which is also why I plan on doing the Twitch streams because, I genuinely enjoy just being able to talk to people. I mean, it's the reason why I started JoyGirl in the first place, so...
You schedule your videos, so I don't know if you have this feeling, but what is the feeling you have immediately after you press the publish button?
Okay, so yes, I don't publish my videos. I have them scheduled, but I still... I'm still awake, and I don't think it's very rare that I will not be present and checking, how that video is performing. I think it's something that I have actually gotten a lot better at in terms of accepting it. You know, you asked me earlier, how do I feel about the number 10? I know earlier, you know, it used to get me down a lot more. It used to sort of, you know, really affect, it wouldn't deeply affect me, but it would, you know, still, you know, make me upset, and I'd feel like my time has been wasted. Whereas now I just try to accept that, move on, and just go, you know, work to make a better video for the future. And that's something that, you know, took a bit of time for me to just get used to. So still now I'm always checking, and I'm always, you know, wondering how this video is going to go. And I do have quite a bit of apprehension, but as much as possible nowadays, I actually try to leave it so that I can focus on other things as well. I just try to keep a bit of a balance, I think. My most, even in terms of actually, again, it actually goes back to in terms of what I'm looking for most after a video is released, isn't even just views or likes. I would actually like to see more comments. I really enjoy reading the comments, and that's what I'm really searching for after a video has been published. I'm always looking like, what are people saying? You know, what do they think? Do they like my thoughts? Do they agree with my thoughts? You know, are they, you know, posing something that I hadn't thought about, you know, that may be super interesting. So that's actually something that I focus on more, is the comments, actually.
To some degree, I think that sounds a lot more healthy.
Do you have a similar experience?
I can tell you that the first thing that goes through my head, because I do manually click that button, after I hit publish, it is terror, because I immediately like start refreshing to see what the view trend is, and I can tell within 2 or 3 minutes like what the outcome's going to be after half an hour.
And when because you see, you know, how many views you get within the 2-3 minutes. And again, it does actually have an impact in how that video performs for the rest of its future. There are instances where a video may not do as well, and then it may pick up, and then over time it may just accumulate a lot of views. But definitely in that initial stage, having a higher view count, I think, definitely does impact, you know, how that video does for the foreseeable future. And so I know that after 30 minutes, if that video is not doing well, I will be like, okay, I have to wait another 30 minutes so that YouTube will tell me more analytics, because they tell you extra things after a video has been published for, I think, an hour. I think they go deeper into, you know, what sort of different sort of metrics. And so I'm like, okay.
What are 3 things that a beginner YouTuber needs to succeed on the platform?
3 things. All right. 1, you need passion. And this sort of goes into the second point, but you need dedication and hard work. But at some points, especially as you do this for a lot longer, and I suppose that you could attest to this, you really need to love what you're doing, because it can get pretty rough. You know, as we said, YouTube gives you a pretty harsh analytics if you don't do well. That could make you feel terrified, as Liam put it, and just make you feel not so great. So you do really need to love what you're doing. Otherwise, I don't think maybe not be worth it. Sort of as a follow-up to that, you also need to have a right balance of dedication and actual hard work. You know, passion will only take you so far. As we said, you know, throughout this interview, you might think that you've explained something super well, but if your thumbnail doesn't just perform if your thumbnail just isn't attractive enough, it just won't do so great. And so you really need to put in the work and effort to make sure that on sort of all elements, your video is where it needs to be to really break that barrier. I mean, I don't know if we ever got to a number of how many One Piece YouTubers there are out there, but I'm sure even in any sort of niche, that niche will by now most likely be super saturated. So you really have to break into that. And breaking into, you know, a saturated niche isn't as easy as it seems. The third one, I would say you need good friends like Liam. No, you do need good friends like Liam, but
No one needs Liam.
The third one I would say is also perseverance and endurance. Something that someone told me in my earlier days of the channel was that I wouldn't do very well because I'm a female in the One Piece niche.
Really?
And yeah, I was told at that point that One Piece YouTuber had a bigger subscriber count than I did.
It was a YouTuber who said it to you. This wasn't just like a random comment.
No, it wasn't a comment. It was someone, I don't think that they create One Piece videos now. But yes, for a period they did have some One Piece videos or One Piece related videos. I think he had been doing it for a little longer than I had. And he had a greater subscriber count than I did. And he was, I suppose generally doing better than I did. And I don't think he meant it to be completely negative. I think it was helpful. Like, I think it was in the spirit of helpful advice. But I think I could have taken that, completely the wrong way and just given up there and then. But I thought, no, I'm going to push through it. I'm going to enjoy it. And, this is something that I really enjoy and really love doing. So I stuck to it, stuck to my guns, kept my passion, kept putting in the hard work. And now, 2 years later, I can say that I'm really glad that I didn't give up.
Well, Sophie, thank you so much for joining me. There will be a link to, I guess, both of your channels in the description. And you can also catch her and I on the Blue Banana podcast. Sophie, do you have any last words? That sounded quite threatening.
Any last words? No, thanks so much for having me, and I'm super glad that I get to talk to you because, you and I are on friendly terms. We're friendly colleagues, so
yeah,
it was
we've
a lot
evolved
of fun.
into friendly colleagues, I would say.
Yes,
that's
friendly colleagues now.
That's the story development there.
But also, if you guys are looking into getting into YouTube, good luck, and I wish you well because it's a lot of hard work, but it's also lots and lots of fun.
It is, absolutely. I think that's a great note to end on, so we will. Bye.